and that Alonzo Trier got coming out of college. But I'm glad Ayton is getting. I'm glad Ayton is eating, as some would say. Oh man. Anyways, enough about the Suns. What do you say we get to the? Actually, we'll stay in the same state. Arizona Cardinals are our first group. Draft picks for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just going to run linebacker Victor Dimukehi. That one I definitely messed up. Round 6, pick 39, corner Tay Gowan. Round 7, pick 16, James Wiggins, the safety. And round 7, pick 20, offensive lineman Michael Manette. So, Cardinals, what do they even need? So let's just run through. They don't need a quarterback because Kyler Murray is their guy. They don't need wide receivers because they've got DeAndre Hopkins, and they've added another piece for a year in A.J. Green. They've still got, I don't like Christian Kirk all that much, but the Cardinals are very high on him. So their wide receiver core is pretty set. Running back, they like Kenyon Drake. They do bring in run.
They don't have Drake anymore. They got John Connor from
James Conner.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
James Conner.
Yeah, no, they don't have John Connor. Like, there's no.
They don't have the Terminator.
No, they do not. You're right.
So
I forgot.
They need a running game.
Yeah, I forgot about Kenyon Drake. You're right. They do have James Conner. I forgot. Defense is really where they need a lot of the help. They brought in J.J. Watt to help a little bit. Still, secondary's in need. Offensive line's in need. And they did a good job of addressing it with linebacker Zaven Collins, who's a stud, corner Marco Wilson. So basically, it's defensive player, wide receiver, defense, offensive line. Did they do a great job of drafting offensive line? No, they only drafted one, and they drafted him in the 7th round. Would they have been better off taking an offensive lineman that really pushes the boundaries of being a starter? That's where I think I would have gone. Probably still taking Collins with my first pick, and then gone maybe at an offensive lineman instead of Rondale Moore. That being said, I love Rondale Moore. He's so good.
He is, but yeah,
he's not in need for them. They needed offensive line help.
They needed offensive line, and as you said, they needed a lot of help on defense, especially at corner. Now they were picked 17
in the second round. They were picked 16 in the first.
Okay. Yeah. So right before then, there had been a little bit of a run on corners. Understandably, not taking one there, but in the second round, I think they definitely had some solid corner options.
They absolutely had solid corner options.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. They absolutely had solid corner options. Elijah Molden was available. Asante Samuel was available. They had options.
Right. They had interior lineman options, although, I could understand not taking some of the linemen at that point. A lot of the remaining ones had like 3rd round grades.
Like Raiders pick Leatherwood?
Yeah. But I definitely think they failed to really make their team much better. You already had a pretty amazing receiving core. Yes, you got Collins, who's a very very good linebacker.
I like the Marco Wilson pick. I do. I feel like they got good value with the second to last pick in the 4th round, taking Marco Wilson.
Yeah, I've seen some of his profile. It looks like he's like very athletic, but needs to work on his technique. So maybe they think they can train him there. I like their edge pick with Dimukiji all the way at the back there. But just not touching on really like any of your needs until day 3 I guess I don't really understand. I think they definitely should have shaken up their approach to this draft. Definitely should have either gone defense or O-line with that second pick.
Unless it was like... Sorry. Unless it was like, one of the top 3 wide receivers somehow fell to that pick. Like, if it's like Cowboys didn't think CeeDee Lamb was going to be there at 17, so we got to take him kind of thing. Like, if that was, I keep wanting to say Henry Ruggs, but he was last year. What's his name? The wide receiver from Alabama that won the Heisman.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah, if Devontae Smith was there, you take Devontae Smith. Definitely.
Right.
but Rondale Moore, like I said, I like him, but you've got DeAndre Hopkins, you've got Christian Kirk, you have A.J. Green filling in for you now. That doesn't make sense to pick Rondale Moore with that pick. Especially when you can go later on in the draft, and I think Sage Surratt went like the 4th round or 5th round, maybe even later. And I like Sage Surratt, I think, more than I like Rondale Moore. So it didn't make sense to me to take Rondale Moore in that position when offensive line is probably the reason that they're not a better team. You can mask a bad defense for a while, especially if your offense is good. You cannot mask a bad offensive line and a bad defense.
Yeah, 100%. They needed tackle help. They needed guard help. They've got a solid center. But,
actually,
other than that, it's a piecemeal O-line.
Mm-hmm. Sage Surratt actually went undrafted. So, I think I would have... I like him more than I like Rondale Moore. That's just me. But yeah, definitely. And, the defense really only looked good against bad teams. Like, they looked good against Andy Dalton as a starting quarterback for the Cowboys with no offensive line. Like, that's not anything to be excited about. You need to focus on defense, especially the run stop, and you need to focus on offensive line, especially getting your running back going.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Worst pick, in my opinion, even though I really like him, Rondale Moore was their worst pick. And their best pick, I think, was Marco Wilson. Great value, round 4, almost round 5 for a guy that I think is going to turn out to be a good safety going, or a good corner going forward. I think that's their best pick, value pick. So overall, B- draft grade. Because, again, they addressed the linebacker, they addressed corner, they addressed safety, they addressed offensive line. They just didn't do it efficiently. So
right.
I have to give them at least a C+ because they addressed the positions. And I think they did it a little bit better than bare bones minimum, but they didn't do very much. B-.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I had them as a C+. Same reasons. I didn't hate their draft, but it certainly left a solid amount to be desired. As far as fantasy goes, I'm a little worried about drafting some of their offensive pieces other than DeAndre Hopkins. That line is one injury away from being the worst in the league.
I mean, I would take Kyler, especially if you got a 2-quarterback league.
Yeah, I mean, you can always get some good value from mobile quarterbacks, but any quarterback behind a terrible O-line is very risky.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I wouldn't touch their running game.
Oh no, nope. Even worse, since I forgot that Kenyon Drake wasn't there. Dan Beebe, what are your thoughts?
I said right around the same, B-. Yeah, if they can't, get the offensive line, I think they're going to struggle, but it'll be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that is Arizona Cardinals. We are now going to move on to the Los Angeles Rams. And then we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to finish it up, the last two teams in our This Week in Sports history. So the Rams, playoff team from last year, beat the Seahawks in the playoffs, lost to the MVP of the NFL in the divisional round, traded for Matthew Stafford. They have 3 running backs that are capable of being running backs in the NFL. Actually, I think they got 2 now. But let's look at their draft.
Cam Akers, baby.
Cam Akers, yep. They didn't have a first-round pick, so this is going to be annoying to really evaluate, because I think it's hard to evaluate a draft when you don't have a first-round pick, because you're not going to hit that, home run type of player like we think the Bears did with Justin Fields, like I think the Cowboys did with Micah Parsons, like the 2 teams that took the corner before the Cowboys could get him, the Panthers with J.C. Horn and the Broncos with
Jerry Jeudy?
No, the safety. His dad played in the NFL. From Alabama. Or the corner, not safety. Name's not coming to me, but I'll remember it eventually. So it's hard to evaluate a draft when they don't have the guy that they want to draft on the board. So we'll start with Patrick Surtain II. That's who it was. That's the corner I wanted the Cowboys to draft that went to the Broncos just before. So the Rams, I think, second round, pick 25, wide receiver, one of my favorite players, not just wide receiver, favorite players in the draft, Tutu Atwell, wide receiver from Louisville. And he was who they picked. Round 3, pick 40, they go linebacker Ernest Jones. Round 4, pick 12, defensive lineman Bobby Brown III. Round 4, pick 25, D-back Robert Rochelle. Round 4, pick 36, tight end Jacob Harris. Round 5, defensive line Ernest Brown IV. They've drafted 2 Ernests in this draft. Round 7, running back Jake Funk. Round 7, wide receiver Ben Skowronek. And round 7, pick 25, linebacker Chris Garrett. So really, what were their needs? I don't think running back was a big need. Their wide receiving core could be upgraded. I don't think it was the biggest need, but again, what a team that made the playoffs, they upgraded a couple positions. What do you draft in that case? You're not drafting quarterback because you expect Matt Stafford to be there for 3, 4, 5 years to really give your team a boost. So quarterback doesn't make sense.
Prior to free agency, I would have said their biggest need was quarterback, because I don't think Goff is very good, and I think that was apparent to them as well, and that's why they made the move.
Now, Goff is a great quarterback. If your starting quarterback gets injured, you need someone to fill in. He's a backup. He's a back. I would feel extremely confident if my starting quarterback got hurt and Jared Goff was my backup.
Yeah. But I wouldn't want to rely on him game in, game out.
No.
I don't think they needed wideout. They got Robert Woods, they got Cooper Kupp, and they got Josh Reynolds. That's a really solid receiving. I think Atwell's a great player, but I thought that was a head scratcher. I think they needed some O-line. Probably edge, and I did hear talk that they wanted to address the linebacking core, but I guess technically they did that. But my God, what a reach for Ernest Jones!
Yeah,
that was probably the worst pick of their draft. One of the worst of the draft as a whole. I hate this pick. I don't think I can put into words how bad of a pick I think this is. they had Jabril Cox still on the board.
Yes. The entire time, that's what I was thinking.